In the movie In the Bedroom, director Todd Field does a great job at subtly displaying the differences between two of the main characters, Richard Strout and Frank Fowler. While these are also good examples of trying to identify the different types of people these characters are in the movie also contains good examples of trying to show their differences without openly stating it. Our first example is when we see Frank come to pick up his girlfriend's son in his father's old pickup to embark on a day's work at sea and to spend some quality time together. The shot of all three people in the truck exhibits how Frank is idolized by the boy. Between the two grown men taking him to do something new, he is in awe of Frank, and most likely sees him as the first real fatherly figure in his life. A collection of shots that are important on the boat are the showing of Frank hoisting a lobster trap. All of the shots are close up on either Frank's hands, the trap, or the gears of the hoist on the boat. This shows Frank's drive for honest work and also taps into his modesty that will set him apart from Richard later in the movie. Another huge sign of the differences between Richard and Frank that Field shows is through Natalie's children. How happy this outing makes the boy is later seen to be unmatched by the way the children see Richard and his relationship with them. And now for Richard. Richard is made out to be arrogant, aggressive in manner, stubborn, and fails to grasp the reasoning behind his failed relationship with Natalie and their children. Immediately, we are introduced to Richard in a scenario of breaking and entering. Also not the first time this has happened, but this screams his aggressive nature in making his way into Natalie's house to talk to her. Alongside with trying to win back his family's love with material items like his trophy, he boasts about his new truck that proposes a clear dichotomy between Frank's father's truck that we see in the beginning of the movie and Richard's. Another thing is his immediate reasoning for the incident is to drop off his sports trophy from his school years. Not only does having a sports trophy from when you were in high school scream arrogance and hubris, but thinking that giving it to your child would make up for his poor presence as a father shows his lack of reasoning. Not only does Richard not fully grasp the idea that he has been a bad parent, but when he is faced with the accusation, he curbs it by trying to blame it on Natalie's relationship with Frank.
Richard, you know what defines a father? It's what he does, not what he promises. It's being a positive, consistent presence.
A positive, consistent presence. Wow. What does that mean? I just don't get it. But I'm not fucking a college boy, am I? We wouldn't want that.
However, when Richard is not submitted to, or is instead argued against, his stubbornness lashes out.
I'll see you later, Richard.
What?
He didn't hit me.
I didn't hit you. That's great. We should throw a party for him. He didn't hit you. It's okay. It's okay. I'm here now. I'm here now. It's alright.
Back to the idea of Natalie's kids being clear indicators of the difference between Frank and Richard. This shot creates a huge divider between the two men if you compare it to the truck ride in the beginning of the movie. The boy looks at Richard with awe and amazement at what a good person he is. As in this shot, the boy looks at Richard like a watchman watches out for intruders and screams to alert his mother when he tries to return. Richard's banging and screaming exhibits his stubbornness as for the fact that he is being denied the ability to talk to Natalie while Frank is in his way.
Just go!
I'll be right back.
When we can hear the screaming between the two from different places in the house that we can't even see them, it becomes clear the tensions have risen, and that Richard tries to maintain his dominance of the situation by yelling louder. But when this becomes difficult and he is opposed by Frank, he lashes out. In the end of this conflict between two wildly different characters, there is a less than favorable outcome.